Hello students, in our last lecture we discussed that DNA replication is very basic event in any kind of reproduction. DNA is must. DNA replication is very important because it stores the information for basic body structure of every organism. So we learned that DNA makes its own copy which passed on to new organisms, but DNA only cannot function on its own. It needs some cell apparatus. By cell apparatus we means cell organelles like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, etc., which are very necessary for DNA to function. Without these cellular organelles, DNA cannot work on its own. So once DNA made its own copy, the cell division will start. Cell division will be followed after DNA replication. So once the copy of DNA is made, the whole cell will divide in two exact cells. So will these two, let us say these are the two exact cell made from these cells. So will these two cells will be identical or not, that we discussed in our last lectures, that every time when DNA makes its own copy, this reaction is a biochemical one. It is a biochemical reaction, and no biochemical reaction is perfectly reliable every time. So that is why when DNA makes its own copy, there is some change, some alterations every time. So these alterations we call them variations. That whenever a DNA makes its own copy, there is some slight change or there is some variation. So this way, this variation leads change in DNA. So sometimes this variation or change in DNA is so much different that it will not work in this new cell, because new cell is adapted to work with old DNA sequence. But if this variation is very high and new DNA is very different, it will not work in this cell and this cell will eventually die. So variation is both beneficial as well as it is harmful. Let us say how it is beneficial. Here we saw that it is harmful. If DNA is changed very much, it will be harmful for that cell or that organism. But how it is beneficial, it is the main interest of topic. So that next topic is importance of variation. Why we need variation? What is the importance of variation? So let us understand. First of all, there is always a population of species like us, human. We are one population. Likewise, any other animal, dog, cat, lion, birds, bacteria, virus, fungi, these all have some population, which population is fit for any particular place. Like us, we human, we only can live on land, we cannot live in water. Or if we Indians, we go to any north or south pole of our planet, we will not survive there because the temperature is very low. So this population, any kind of population, is well fit for a specific place in our ecosystem. So in our whole ecosystem there is a place, or in ecological term it is niche, niche, niche. It is a place where a specific population lives. So there is different niche for every different population, and our DNA helps this population to survive in this specific niche, or our DNA is adapted for only one kind of niche. Like we can only survive on land, and fish can only survive in water. So our DNA are made as such that we can fit, or we can survive in our niche place. But this niche or habitat, they are not unchanged forever. They may face some changes which are beyond the control of this population. We cannot control our environment, we cannot control our habitat. Like temperature can rise due to global warming in temperate regions, like our poles. In those temperate regions temperature is rising due to global warming. So the population which is adapted for very low temperature will not survive if temperature changes. So whenever variation occurs, let us say for example that there is a culture of bacteria in a test tube which is temperate, means it is having very low temperature, it is freezing or cold. So in that these bacteria are adapted to live in cold temperature. So you gave them cold temperature in laboratory in a test tube. Now bacteria reproduce in 20 minutes. So there is a whole new generation after 20 minutes in your test tube. Now if you change the temperature of test tube, you increase temperature, so after some times this bacteria will die. But you will observe that in 20 minutes a whole new generation of bacteria arises. So there would be some variation. This variation will be in some bacteria, not whole population. It will be in some bacteria, because variation is not compulsory, it just happens by chance, by errors in biochemical reactions during DNA replication. So only few of bacteria will have some kind of variation which help them to survive in this high temperature. So you see, when the temperature rises means when there is a change in niche or habitat. There is a change in niche or habitat, the whole population of bacteria will die, but few bacteria which have variation will survive. So this is the importance of variation. When any kind of uncontrolled situation happens, there will be some survivors of that population which are gone through variation. So variation is not beneficial for single individual. For single individual it is harmful, but for whole population, as we saw here, it is beneficial for whole population to survive. That's why variation is important. And other importance of variation is that it leads to evolution. Like when we were monkey, our DNA is still same, but with some variations. We evolve from monkeys into human. So this evolution is done by variation only. So this is the importance of variation. Now we will move on to our main purpose of this chapter, that how do organisms reproduce. So how do organisms reproduce? So there is a basic information that not every organism reproduce by same method. Means there are different kind of methods for different organisms. So first of all we will study modes of reproduction used by single organisms. Means there are some organisms who can reproduce on its own, means single, while there are others like us, we need two organisms to reproduce, that is male and female. So when two organisms are producing a new organism, that mode of reproduction is called as sexual reproduction. But when a single organism is producing new organism, it is called as asexual reproduction. It is not given in your textbook at this point, but you may be aware of this. So modes of reproduction used by single organism. So we will study reproduction by single organism, by asexual reproduction. So modes of this single reproduction are many, out of which first is fission or fission. This is the example of fission. Fission means to separate. It is the opposite word of fusion. Fusion means to combine two things, but fission means to separate one thing. So many organisms which are single celled, or you can say that unicellular. You may have learned this in your previous standard, that there are two kinds of organisms, unicellular and multicellular. So when there is unicellular organism, means it will be having only one cell, like here in amoeba. You heard about amoeba. So this is unicellular organism. So in this organism, when this cell divides or cell division occurs, it will itself called as reproduction, because by dividing cell or by cell division it is producing a new organism. So this is the first example of fission, and in this process only two organisms are made from single organisms. That's why it is called as binary fission, because it is producing two organisms from single parent. So this is the figure of binary fission of amoeba given in your textbook. You can see here there is only one amoeba. First of all, this is nucleus. So first of all, DNA replication will takes place, means nucleus will start to divide, nucleus will start to separate from each other, and once the DNA replication is done, nucleus are separated, the whole cell will divide from each other. So by this way new two organisms are made. So this is binary fission, and it is done by single organism. Single organism is producing two new amoeba. This is the kind of asexual reproduction. Now the structure of amoeba is irregular. So this division or fission can start with any place. There is no specific structure of amoeba, but there are some other organisms like this one. This is Leishmania. The name of organism is Leishmania. It is also a protozoan. Protozoan is a phylum of animals, phylum of invertebrate animals. You learned the diversity of animals in your previous standard, so you may be aware of this name, protozoan. Amoeba is also protozoan, leishmania is also protozoan. This is the structure of leishmania. So what is the difference between these two structures? That this structure is also unicellular, but it is having some structural organization like this. This is the flagella. For its movement, for the movement of this cell to capture food, and this is multipurpose. This whip like flagella is dividing this structure in two parts. That's why this cell division should start from some point, some specific point. Unlike amoeba, it can start producing from any point because it is not having some regular structure. It is irregular, but here there is some structural organization. That's why the cell division starts from here. Nucleus will start dividing on its own, but cell division will start from here, like this flagella is growing another flagella. That's why these two leishmania will separate from each other from this point. You see here changes, nucleus is dividing, other flagella is growing, and once it is fully grown the body will divide. So this is also a kind of fission, but it occurs at some specific point. It is also a kind of binary fission only, because here also two organisms are producing from single one. That's why it is called as binary fission, but fission starts from some specific point. That is the difference between leishmania and amoeba. There are also other kind of fissions like observed in this organism. This is Plasmodium vivax. It is scientific name, you have to remember only Plasmodium. It is also kind of animal from protozoan family. This is the organism which cause malaria in human beings. It is a kind of fever. Some of you might got this in your earlier days. So this is Plasmodium vivax. This organism, what does this do? They produce many daughter cells inside that parent cell. This is parent cell, and this small you see, these are all daughter cells. Yes, you cannot say it son cells, you must have to say it daughter cells. So in this process, at a single time, many progenies are formed, many offsprings or many daughter cells are being produced at a same time. So this is called as multiple fission, because at the same time multiple daughter cells are being produced. So it is the example of multiple fission. So multiple fission and binary fission both are observed in reproduction by single organisms, or you can say asexual reproduction. There are also other ways in single cell organisms like yeast, which grows on our breads. If we do not keep it in fridge, or if we keep it in warm places, the yeast will grow on your bread. So how does yeast reproduce? They produce some buds. Means if this is the body structure of yeast, it will produce this kind of buds which will grow on the body of yeast, and at a certain time, when it is fully grown, it will detach from the parents. This way a new organism is formed. It is not given in your textbook in details, but for example, yeast produced by budding. This process is called as budding because it is producing buds, so it is called as budding. So these are the examples of fission. In next lecture we will study other modes of reproduction by single organisms, which are fragmentation, regeneration, vegetative propagation. Many are there. We will study it later. Thank you, students.